everyone, this is Kit Cabela of hardlensmedia. I'm joined here today as Ryan Watson. He is one of the members of Chicago Socialist Alternative. Ryan, thank you so much for joining hardlensmedia.
Thanks for having me.
So essentially, we're here standing in solidarity with the victims in Charlottesville, and right now we're seeing a huge crowd form up. In fact, this is a second protest group that just followed the first one that you were associated with. Essentially, what do you think is going to happen down the road in regards to protests and people really challenging this administration?
I mean, we've already seen the first steps of trying to delegitimize protesting, not just here, but across the world. We've taken on with our sister organization in the Socialist Party in Ireland an attempt to criminalize protesting there. And essentially, I think Naomi Klein says it quite clearly. When they try and delegitimize protesting, that's even more of a reason for us to be in the streets. So I welcome, this second march, a third march, but obviously it has to be co-opted or corroborated with plans on how do we make strides, and that means we have to have labor connected to the struggle against the rising right wing, and the resources and the power and the people behind labor have to be directly connected to that.
Now, corporate Democrats and establishment Republicans are now denouncing Trump and his actions, but essentially, how much trust do you have with those two political parties and their people within those parties to really basically form any kind of resistance? Do you think it's lackluster? What is really needed to really form a real political resistance against Trump and his administration as well as corporate interests?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any faith. I think because of the failure of the established political elements on both the left and the right wing is why we are in a predicament where people who have these ideologies think that they can walk freely, or people are being connected to any idea to kind of establish a reason for why people are failing. At the core, what we need to be having is a conversation about 5 people having the same wealth as the bottom half of the world. And what does that mean? What does that mean when you have 2 very rich people who are worth $90 billion battling for the richest person in the world, both living in the U.S., that these realities are being contributed or scapegoated to Muslims or black people or women or Mexicans. That's what Trump and his administration is trying to push it off on. And I think that the Democrats, especially the establishment Democrats, have proven no resistance whatsoever. And so what we need, I think, is a party that is not connected to the billionaire class whatsoever, that can actually show an alternative, a struggle alternative that could win people back over. One of those main fight backs, I think, is healthcare. We need not just an alternative to Trump care, but an alternative to Obamacare, which is like Medicare for all, single-payer healthcare. That can win people over to the ideas that say working-class people are worth fighting for, and as a whole. So I don't have any faith in the two establishment parties.
Now, a week ago, there was the Democratic Socialists of America convention at UIC, and the people that we interviewed were definitely open to building a larger coalition with Democrats who want to reform the DNC, working with the Green Party, or even Socialist Alternative. Essentially, do you feel like a real socialist movement is what's really necessary to get things moving in regards to 2018 and the 2020 election cycles? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think we're on the precipice of a true left kind of rejuvenation in U.S. And I'm really ecstatic about the DSA reaching 25,000 people just a week ago, and we've seen this growth in Socialist Alternative from one of your interviews with Ginger Jensen. We're running in Minnesota, which I think we have a huge possibility of taking out the established Democrats that are in there and showing a true alternative to the two parties of billionaires, And if there's any semblance of what we're seeing all across the world in Portugal and Spain and in the UK and France and in Latin America, that there is an openness to left ideas. There's an opening to socialist ideas, and that what we need to have is a true socialist fight back that says that austerity will not be a solution whatsoever, and that at the core, what we need is policies that benefit working people all over the world, and so I'm ecstatic about what's possible, but I do think that these possibilities are directly related to the failure of capitalism in '07 and '08, and that under that same realm, we're seeing the rise of fascistic and right-wing populism is under from that same break. And I think, like, if we were to win some of those people who are not the ones that are running people over with their cars, but who are adopting those ideas over, then we do have to have socialist ideas that are not compromising, that says, like, well, we'll help some of the people, not all. That's not the politics that we need. And I think we can't be limited by the Democratic Party on any scale. So although I'm willing to work with any DSA or any Green Party or anybody who's willing to fight for working class people, I won't be limited by them, for sure.
And finally, where can our viewers and subscribers learn more about Chicago Socialist Alternative, and where can they find you guys on social media?
Oh, we're on Facebook, Chicago Socialist Alternative, exactly. We're also on Twitter as Socialist Alt. You can email us at chicago.socialistalternative@gmail.com. And you go find us all over the streets of Chicago at maybe your local train station. We'll be there. And if you are on one of the local college campuses, we hope to be there in the coming age, because we need a socialist alternative, and I think the youth is the way that we can win this moving forward.
All right, that's a great note to end it on. Thank you so much for joining Hard Lens Media. And to all our viewers and subscribers, peace, everyone.